Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between Grand Cathay and Nurgle here in the Changer's Madhouse. So I'm not sure how a Cathay and a Nurgle army arrived in the realm of Tzeentch, but you know what? It's Warhammer, we don't ask questions. As far as the build goes, it is going to be a couple Jade Warriors in the front line, backed up by big old Saytang. So I was like, let's try and bring Saytang and see if he can snipe the Nurgle characters, because Nurgle just loves to bring that hero core, the exalted heroes of Nurgle, and in this case, it is going to be Kayzk, who's pretty scary for sure. He gets in there, he regenerates and has good AP, so quite a menace against Grand Cathay. But let's see if Saytang's going to be able to bring them down. Frontline is going to be Jade Warriors, backed up by a fire aim rocket. This was actually supposed to be a cannon. I just misclicked in the lobby, but when I saw my opponent's army, which was like mass infantry, I was like, oh, okay, well, suddenly that wasn't a big mistake. And Dune Dragons in the back. So I like Dune Dragons. They do magic damage, they have AP and anti-large, making them good against toads and the bigger demons, and they can also hold their own against like Chaos Warrior equivalents. And yeah, they just do it for the Dragon Emperor. Our Lord is going to be rocking the Breath attack, Dragon's Breath, which is pretty good at clearing out Marauders. Now, for old Subutai's army here, he is going to be rocking the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, who is very, very meta and very strong. Fleshy Abundance and Stream of Corruption, a good kit of spells. Stream of Corruption, 100% AP on that, making it ideal against anyone who's going to be bringing armored infantry, whether that be Dwarves or Grand Cathay, whatever. The rest of his core is going to be a mix of Chaos Warriors, which is cool to see, with Marauders of Nurgle, and the very scary hero core. This is a pretty standard opening for Nurgle. You'll see kind of builds like this, and sometimes Soul Grinders in some matchups, but not in this one. But yeah, I really like the hero core. Combination of armor piercing as well as durability, and you can see Tzeentch trying to get his clutches on Nurgle's army, but Nurgle is going to be fleeing to the middle objectives here. So we'll do some fast forwarding. The Fire Rain Rockets will be opening up here in a second, and they are going to be shooting a big salvo into the Nurgle Warriors here. So the fire of Grand Cathay, the Dragon Emperor, cackles this day as those Marauder Great Weapons get pounded pretty badly, and they were stacked with Chaos Warriors, so I was pretty fortunate with that little engagement right there. Meanwhile, Saytang going to be ripping his first shot from downtown, and it looks like he misses. He did, I think, hit one of them initially, so we did miss. Maybe that was technically a second shot, but he is keeping these characters screened out a little bit, which I'm happy about. And now another tech I like in this matchup to try and deal with the Nurgle characters is the Celestial Lion. It's a pretty good fighter, and teamed up with Saytang, it can do work. We do punch that Chaos Sorcerer Lord in the face, and the evil Narnia Lion here is going to be, well, it's not so evil, it's probably a benevolent creature, I would imagine. It's going to be jumping into the forces of Nurgle and looking to provide some armor piercing, while the Jade Warriors will be getting ready to party. I wonder if the matchup, if a blimp is worth it. Probably not, but here we do see the Chaos Furies coming out. So Furies on both sides, and they're obviously going to be wanting to dive the Fire Rain Rocket, which is doing pretty good damage against the infantry for starters. Jade Warriors are going to be called out on the defense, and in the front line, Celestial Lion gets a nice little terror out on those Marauders, which is good. Now the Jade Warriors going to be piling in to fight a very tough foe. It is going to be the big scary Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, which is going to be very hard, and we do also saturate in the Dune Dragons to try and help out. Now in the backfield, it's going to be the next epicenter of action, as Nurgle does go up 2-1 in terms of the objectives, shooting here on the far side against the Pestigors, which are advancing in. And now we need to defend. And this is a lot of money, too. 2 Chaos Furies, you know, they're what, 600 apiece, 550? So they cost about the same as the Fire Rain Rocket. So I do charge the one that is right here. And on the other side, we are going to be getting the Crowmen coming in. Crowmen are an excellent tool against Furies. They trade relatively evenly, I think. Maybe a slight edge for Crowmen. It'd be something I'd have to test. But they do magic damage, so they get in, and you can see they really start to melt these Furies, considering I got the charge. I was very happy about that. And do get some Chaos Doggos coming in. So Subutai going pretty all in here in the backfield to try and stop this artillery piece, which is not shooting for now, so certainly is paying dues. Here on Objective 1, Nurgle is threatening to capture it, and that is the danger of Grand Cathay, is that you can find yourself getting behind on points. The 2 Nurgle characters here are going to be chewing through the Jade Warriors. It's a lot of extra armor piercing, a lot of power there from those mighty champions. Certainly problematic. And over here on the backfield, we do manage to stabilize the Fire Rain Rocket, but we have lost a couple of the models. We still have some Pestigors back here, and I was starting to really kind of get nervous about losing this objective here, so we do call it Peasant Horsemen, who are going to be charging into the Marauders. I'm pretty sure I gave a charge order, but I guess I misclicked there. Now, as far as the Nurgle characters go, they were beating down the Jade Warriors, but Big Chad Saytang has been doing a lot of damage. A big arrow right in the face nails that Nurgle character, and he's looking a little bit worse for wear. A good Stream of Corruption there from Subutai is going to be nailing the Dune Dragon. Celestial Lion still trying to support the boys. Meanwhile, the Dragon-Blooded Lord is going to be pouncing onto the Nurgle character, trying to break his charge, but unfortunately he keeps going, and is going to be getting in combat with Saytang, who uses a pretty cool little animation. Don't know if I've seen that one before. But that is going to be a Fleshy Abundance response from Nurgle. Very good choice. That is going to be giving a huge heal to this Exalted Hero of Nurgle, so that feels pretty bad. And on the back objective, I do manage to stabilize it, but Subutai keeping the back pressure on, which is really, really good against Grand Cathay. Typically, you want to play in a way where you're pressuring the objectives and then forcing them to advance up on you and try and push you off objectives, which is one of their weaker suits here. We do break the Exalted Hero temporarily, but he comes back, and Saytang does unleash his fat shaft bow into the back of the Chaos Sorcerer. And the Fire Rain Rocket only had one model left after all was said and done, and the Chaos Sorcerer does manage to charge in, and on impact actually destroys it. So all that's left now is the Fire Rain Rocket Artillery Crew, which is unfortunate, but they've got an okay value. They got about 600-700 value, which, considering the amount of diving resources he had to put into it, honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. So in the back point, Jade Warriors fighting it out, and we do have the Jade Lancers making contact with Marauders, and they'll dominate baseline Marauders pretty well, although Jade Warriors will kind of struggle against the Great Weapon variant because of their sustained armor piercing, and Jade Warriors honestly are okay on the charge, or Jade Lancers, excuse me, but pretty mediocre in most other circumstances. They're kind of like, you know, Empire Knights, but yeah, I don't think they quite have as much armor. They have 100 Empire Knights, I think, at 120 or 110 or something like that. Even still here, we do get the Exalted Hero of Nurgle, and the big Celestial Lion's going to be coming in to try and deal with him and protect its master. The Shugingen Lord is going to need to find a way to escape here in a second, although maybe we're going to be able to win the 2v1. We do see him starting to waver here. Celestial Lions do have the Wounded Pride, so when they get beat up, they get a little bit stronger. So it's not relevant yet, but perhaps it will be at some point. On the back, we do manage to stabilize the back pressure. The Pestigores here are getting pounded, and we do pull a bit of a value lead of about 1,000, give or take, 1,100. But remember that he, of course, is Nurgle and has done multiple Fleshy Abundances. So with that being said, I would say the value in this game is very even. Maybe I'm ahead by a couple hundred, but it's really a close match in terms of value. In terms of the objectives, he's certainly doing very well. One thing that's been very tricky is that Kayzk has been just following around Saytang, and I don't have anything that can peel for him. So Saytang is just kind of having to eat it. In retrospect, maybe just turning and fighting Kayzk would be good, but he has healing. He's a much better sustained fighter. The poison is so good against big monsters. The percentage-based mitigation of stats, it's just God tier, right? So objective 1, we do break and shatter the Exalted Hero of Nurgle. So that felt pretty good. I was like, okay, we were able to get rid of one Nurgle character. His Sorcerer is trapped back here, and it kind of put me in a position where I was like, okay, am I going to go after the Sorcerer and try and kill him? Which is a very, very tough thing to do. We have him kind of surrounded with Peasant Horsemen. We have the Lion here. But he has constant healing from the Crown of Everlasting Conquest, which gives him 0.2 per second, which is insanely good, making him an absolute raid boss to kill. And in combat, he can probably hold his own with the Celestial Lion, so I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I know it's going to be a Helm's Deep situation. Can already see the writing on the wall, and he does equalize value a little bit. So that was certainly sweating bullets here pretty heavily. Here are the Empress's Crowmen coming back in, rear charging into Pestigores. Pestigores have pretty terrible MD at 25. Empress's Crowmen with 38 melee attack, getting a beautiful rear charge here. Really going to be able to punish these Pesties. So the Pesties do get taken to Pound Town, and they are going to be surging on my back objective. A couple have rallied here, so that felt pretty bad. And I was like, oh man, I'm really starting to lose momentum. Nurgle's getting a good push on me, but this game, I can assure you, is far from over. And here in the back, we do get the Empress's crossbows. The Jade crossbowmen here, not the Empress's crossbows. Getting a little confused there. But they're a good choice against Pestigores. And against Nurgle in general, they're good. And that is one of the meta kind of builds that you'll sometimes see from Grand Cathay, is like a gun line, bow line, backed up with one of the Dragon Twins to try and fight off the Nurgle characters. But yeah, it's not easy. But he does get in combat with the Pestigores. But I do have overlapping fields of fire right here as these Jade Warrior crossbowmen going to be shooting into the Pesties, probably able to clean them up. Here, Kayzk is still going after Saytang, and I did pull Saytang close to the Dune Dragons. Dune Dragons do have good anti-large and armor piercing, so at the very least, they're going to be able to nibble down some HP off Kayzk here. And Saytang doing some really cool attack animations. As far as the objective goes, it's a bit of a rough one for me. He still has Marauders and a couple Marauder Horsemen patrolling, but I'm relatively close to breaking through and getting the capture weight that I need there. But here's the triple cap, and the most important thing here is to stabilize. Like, Cathay, you need to be methodical, right? Like, I don't need to be sending to all 3 objectives right now. I need to just be going and securing my back objective with everything I can, and then moving forward from there. Chaos Sorcerer Lord, a little bit beat up. He's at 3,100 HP. The Celestial Lion's been doing pretty good, 1,700. I honestly think, like, maybe doing a build with, like, cut the Fire Rain Rocket and go double Celestial Lion, and then suddenly I think you're in a position where you can fight back against the Nurgle character core. So you go Saytang, double Celestial Lion. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. But crossbows shooting here. They were able to clean out the Pestigores. We got some Peasant Horsemen coming in. Jade Warriors now going to be moving up to help as well. Capture weight on the middle is going, but Kayzk's healing is quite good. He does have the regeneration. It's only 0.10, but yeah, he's been getting, I believe, Fleshy Abundances as well. And maybe some fecundities. So we do drop the Moonbow on top of the Chaos Sorcerer. He's shaken, and if I can take that bad boy down, that's going to be a huge win for the Dragon Emperor. Here in the middle, Plague Toads do arrive, but I do have the tattered remnants of the Dune Dragons, who will be maybe able to win that fight, actually. It's hard to say. Not with Kayzk there, but these Dune Dragons will start nibbling down these Plague Toads pretty hard. You can see the HP of the Plague Toads starting to diminish, And not too much damage has been taken on the Dune Dragons, only like 200 so far. And it looks like they're going to be piling into Saytang. Saytang getting another nice shot into the Sorcerer. On the backfield, we do start to get the point, and here we have the Jade Warrior crossbows ripping some fat shots into the face here of the Marauders. The Marauders are going to be forced back as we do try and chase them down with Peasant Horsemen. So now we do get this objective back, but Nurgle is, they're getting close to winning here, but we are getting that momentum back. I could feel it in the game. The value, we're up by about 400, which is weird. He's gotten a lot of healing, but I still felt like looking at the battlefield, I have a lot more stuff. So the crossbows chase back these Pestigors, chase back those. Here we do get the double Crowmen as well as the Empress's Crowmen chasing out the last of the Nurglite infantry there. And in the middle, I get a little bit sloppy. I do kind of blunder my Dragon-Blooded Lord. I get it in combat. I think I was like trying to attack maybe the Plague Toads, but I forgot about it. And then it ended up getting attacked by Kayzk. So good awareness for my opponent here. And you can see the Dragon-Blooded Lord is like trampling one of the Nurgle warriors. Like, get me out of here. And we need to keep this character alive. If I lose my Dragon-Blooded Lord outright here, that could be game blouses. That would be a big leadership penalty, which I can't afford at this point in the game. Saytang also taken down. He's done pretty good on value, about 1900, so not unhappy with his performance, but it made me realize that I think I need more to protect him. The Celestial Lion couldn't be everywhere at once, right? So in the back point, we're just going to be leaving a crossbow, because Nurgle does have good back cap. You know, they can get a couple of Nurglings and Pestigors out of Vanguard and really threaten this. So I figured leaving a Jade Warrior crossbow here, which could then shoot onto the Warriors and other threats, would be good. Getting a couple more Jade Warriors moving up, but Kayzk causing a lot of disruption. And now we're going to be swarming on Objective 2, ladies and gentlemen, and I do have a bit of time left. If we can get this Objective 2 here rather quickly, that's going to put him on 1 victory taken per second, which is going to take a long time for him to win. It'll be several minutes, right? So now, you know, the whole game, I honestly felt like there wasn't much of a chance, but at this point I was like, okay, we have a little bit of sugar here. We got some business going on. So we're moving on to the point. It is going to get captured. Obviously, I do need to get all 3 objectives to win. There's a big old stream of corruption. That was a beautiful cast by Subutai right there. And I do drop one right there on the Pestigors as I do charge into them with the Peasant Horsemen. Peasant Horsemen onto the Pesties. Yeah, Pesties have, like I said, not the best sustained fighting. If they're not fighting armor, they're not going to be the most cost-effective thing, but Peasant Horsemen obviously won't be the destroyers of worlds either. And in back reserve here, we have Jade Warriors heading for the back objective, as well as Onyx Crowmen. So I planned these guys, you know, about a minute ago to get in there. And Onyx Crowmen are quite good against Pesties, and they're really good against most Nurgle units. Like, good against Pestigors, good against Nurglings, good against Marauder Horsemen, good against not so good against Plague Toads, but if they rear charge them, they can kill them relatively quickly with support. The magic damage just makes them so incredibly solid, but we do get that point, and now we're going to be swarming for the back objective, using the Onyx Crowmen to collapse the Pestigors here, so that is going to be a nice little rear charge. They're going to get bunker busted, and here in the middle, Kayzk as well as the Chaos Sorcerer, both, you know, the Kayzk's healthy, but the Sorcerer is pretty low, but I don't really have time to sit there and try and kill Kayzk. I know I need to make a play for the back. Jade Warriors in a weird formation, obviously a blunder on my part. Going to be engaging against Pestigors, which are, I would say, a pretty hard counter against them. The Jade Warriors are not going to have a good fight there, but I figured let's get the Jade Lancers around the back, do a rear charge, cast the Dragon's Breath attack, my Dragon-Blooded Lord chilling out. Crossbow shooting into the Pestigors here, and it's looking hopeful. 13,000 against 12.8, and you know, I think it's pretty even on value overall. Despite the healing, I don't know how that happened. I think some of his units may have disintegrated and or run off the battlefield, and it wasn't really tracked on the value. But we do get a good rear charge on the Pestigors, but another unit of Pestigors does saturate in there. Crossbowmen trying to move up, but the Plague Toads are going to be scooting for it. Another Crowmen called in and trying to get my speedy units. Grand Cathay does have decent speed. Crowmen, Peasant Horsemen, Jade Lancers. So they're not like, you know, the Crowmen were a big buff for Grand Cathay. When that DLC came out, that really kind of buffed them up a tier. I still think Grand Cathay is like a lower tier faction overall in domination mode, but there are a couple matchups where they can be extremely dominant and very powerful, in my opinion. So, going to be looking to get the back objective. We do break the Pestigors with the flank charge from the Jade Lancers, and now there's a bit of an opening here, and he responds with some Panic Hounds, which I intercept with the Crowmen to try and break their momentum. And unfortunately, some of the Toads are going to be rerouting over to the Jade Warriors, but the Jade Lancers come in and we immediately crush those Warhounds, and that was pretty big. And now we're going to be swarming onto the point. We do have only 4 capture weight there right now. There's going to be another 5 coming in, another Peasant Horseman charging into the Plague Toads, and Subutai, though a veteran of many Total Wars, is going to be pulling back his Pestigors. He realizes the potential blunder here and is going to be moving back onto the objectives. I do get the capture weight. Only 40 seconds left here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see if those guys can make it back in time. The Jade Warriors have almost made it up to the objective. They're just very close to it. I'm force pathing past the Toads, who are actually taking a surprising amount of damage from this Peasant Horseman. But unfortunately for me, the Hounds do rally. He gets some Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle, and also the rest of the troops are going to make it back, henceforth crushing the dreams of Grand Cathay. we make our valiant last stand here, ladies and gentlemen, but with 12 seconds, it is not going to be enough. Well played by homie Subutai. He played a great game. It was a very close one. And it was a good learning experience. You know, I don't play Grand Cathay too often. Definitely a faction I'm not super practiced with, but I wasn't unhappy with the build. I think maybe just cut the Fire Rain Rocket. Doom Dragons did okay, but maybe for the sake of getting more SE play, we cut these two pieces and open with double Celestial Lion. Because otherwise, how are we going to deal with these characters, right? You would have to get like a dragon combat character, but even still, I think the double Celestial Lion isn't a bad idea. Yeah, really, really fun match. Let's see what did well for me. Saytang did okay, 1700 there. Fire Rain Rocket did all right. And of course, the Crowmen were disruptive. Jade Warriors came out. Lion got 1900. And for Subutai, Sorcerer Lord did great, as always. Stream of Corruptions were great, solid stuff. And big old Kayzk managed to get 2700. And that was farming Saytang, so there's no surprises there. GG, well played. We'll see you guys around. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. And that is it for tonight.